Hi guys, I'm Davina.
And I'm Ishaan, and welcome back to episode 7 of Round the Wall.
Now, I know what you're thinking. We've been gone for a while. We had our very own international break. I've been away. We've both been busy. But that leaves us with a lot of content to talk about today. So let's get into it.
Yeah, we have a lot to get through today, so I'm going to leave the intro and go straight into the hottest debate this weekend. Garnacho's goal.
Garnacho, what a strike. 3rd minute at Goodison Park. Really tough environment to go to. Might touch upon it later, but obviously having experience there. Point deduction. Really hostile environment. And he comes out and produces that. What a guy.
Yeah, as a Liverpool fan, I never like praising anything to do with United, but he literally silenced the stadium because you could tell Everton were up for that game. Like you said, 10 points deduction, fighting relegation, got this vendetta against the Premier League. And Everton United is still somewhat of a rivalry as well, obviously because of the Manchester-Liverpool kind of links. But yeah, what a goal. And where are we ranking it? So I think what I've seen a few debates on the timeline. I've seen kind of debate whether it's the best Premier League goal of all time, best bicycle kick in the Premier League of all time. We're going to change it up slightly. We're going to say, is it the best bicycle kick of all time? Now, Davina, I'm interested to hear your thoughts. We haven't talked about this before, so...
Yeah, so obviously we can't forget the big ones. We've got Wayne Rooney.
Yeah.
We've got Gareth Bale.
Yeah.
We've got Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah.
And I think we were forgetting one. Christian Benteke for against Manchester United.
Yes,
I think that's a very overlooked one.
Yes.
People are forgetting because I remember that and it was clean.
Yeah. I think, honestly, with that one, I think it was 2 reasons why that one didn't get hyped up enough. I think it was one, because it was in a losing effort.
Yeah.
And it was like a consolation type goal. And also just kind of I think our vendetta against Martin Tyler started with that game, because Benteke got that and it was just like, oh, what a goal type of thing. And then Martial scored that one literally 10 or 15 minutes later, and it got, oh, welcome to Manchester. And I'm like you've just seen one of the best overhead kicks of all time. But anyway, so what's your take then?
I think you also have to think about.
Are we taking the pure strike of the ball, or are we taking the context into it as well? Because if you're taking context into it as well, you can't really beat a Champions League final overhead kick, or a Champions League knockout stage overhead kick, or in case Rooney's like a Manchester derby.
Manchester derby one, yeah.
Benteke's goes out the window because it's nothing. He didn't even win the game.
Exactly.
So then if it's between those three, yeah, it's like how much do you favor the actual technique?
Yeah, is it the occasion versus the actual strike? I mean, Garnacho, unreal, because we're forgetting Zlatan against England.
Ooh.
He was so far away from the goal.
That actually, you know what? That might even top all of it.
That was because
crazy.
Look at the distance away from the goal that was.
Yeah.
He did 100%. Zlatan didn't even know where the goal was. He was like, yeah, you know what? I'm going.
Yeah, I'm Zlatan.
I'm
Zlatan.
But you know what? That's the kind of arrogance that Garnacho had in that game.
Yeah.
Against Everton, to be able to score that, because his celebration, he did the Ronaldo, and then he was like, I'm just that guy.
Yeah.
So, Zlatan has to win it.
Yeah, I think Zlatan takes... Yeah, I would agree. I would say Zlatan best overall.
Yeah.
And then Garnacho's best in Premier League. I think he beats Rooney's. I think he beats Rooney's. And have you thought maybe, if we're going to say it, best Premier League goal of all time, or no?
Best Premier League goal of all time? Maybe that's a debate for another day.
Yeah, I personally don't see it, but I wanted to put it out there.
Game recognises game. God, I say it like I'm a baller.
Yeah.
But I think it's
just
a brilliant
imagine
goal.
you just flying yeah.
For the record, I don't play football. I really wish I could. But yeah, it's one to admire. But best goal of the Premier League. I think there's a lot of recency bias coming from Manchester United fans there. Everyone's posting it on their story. We see you. We all saw the goal.
Yeah. We're gassing it up. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Then, yeah, if we kind of focus in on the game and kind of Man U, I like to term this topic area the curious case of Man United. Because I've drawn a few stats here. So Man U are the joint most informed team in the Premier League now. 4 wins out of 5.
Yeah.
3 clean sheets in a row, despite kind of Martinez being injured, Shaw being injured, Varane being injured / benched. Obviously Onana with all of his difficulties. 6 points off the top, ahead of Newcastle, But then the other side of the coin is 3 losses in 6,
Yeah.
which includes being dumped out the EFL Cup, which they're holders of,
Yes.
and 4th in the UCL group with, fair enough, Bayern Munich, but then Copenhagen and the Turks. Galatasaray. What's going on? Like, which one will the real Man United please stand up? Not even that they're good. That their good side of the coin is like something unbelievable, but like it's definitely better than people make them out to be. But then you've got this other side of it, which is like, yeah, fair enough, they are as bad as people are making them out to seem. So what is it? What's the truth?
Lack of consistency, and then I know we'll talk about injuries, which we have a plethora of in the Premier League, but I think it's just things were going bad into worse for Manchester United, and maybe they're picking up a bit of form. So they've got like, they had those back-to-back 3-1 losses against Arsenal and Brighton, and they started to pick up form. Like you said, they're the most informed team.
Joint. With Villa.
Yeah.
We'll talk about later.
So I think, like you said, 6 points off the top, 2 points behind Tottenham, and we'll talk about Tottenham later. But I think the thing that I respect about Ten Hag is that he recognised things were not working. He tried to change it a little bit, and he's recently been grinding out some results, but it's just not consistent.
Yeah. And
so I feel like he's cooking something, but it's not like a cook. It's like, when something's like a little bit sizzling.
Yeah.
That's what he's doing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a weird one because none of their performances have been that convincing. Like the best I've still seen them play this season are probably in the against Crystal Palace in the cup. But they've been grinding out results, and I guess it is a results business. I have an interesting debate to have with you. Like after we go over Chelsea, you can probably guess along the lines of, because I'll touch on it briefly and we'll go into it later, but I personally think Chelsea have actually played better this season, but United have got more points on the board. And who's going to finish first? Who's going to finish higher? But we'll talk about that later. So, and then
Can we cut the cameras?
I haven't even said anything.
The agenda.
What is next on the agenda? Do you know?
I don't know.
You want to? Yeah. What is next on the agenda?
My team, Tottenham.
And I'm just saying, a lot of people have been gunning for you. Like in this international break that you've been on has nicely coincided with a slight turn in fortune for the mighty Tottenham Hotspur. Didn't you cut your holiday to Bali short to be back for Spurs versus Chelsea?
Yeah, and you know what? Do you know how different life could be if the 6th of November didn't happen? That first, I was there to watch Tottenham versus Chelsea. I came back just to see Pochettino's return to N17. And that was one of the most, the way that I can describe that game, I was flabbergasted. I was so confused watching that game. First half of football, we lose Romero. Van de Ven goes off. Maddison goes off. Udogie gets sent off during the game. It's just, everything that could go wrong in a game went wrong. And all of the VAR calls were happening. Firstly, I have a strong viewpoint on this. Why can't I, a person who pays X amount of money to go and watch my team play every single week in the stadium, I don't know what the replay looks like. All they show on the screen is VAR check for possible offside or penalty or violent conduct.
Yeah.
I'm literally messaging my brother who's not in the stadium was it a pen? Was it offside? Because I can't see. I mean, we've watched it all in real time, but we can't see.
But I get your point, but devil's advocate is that it just puts unnecessary pressure on the ref, right? And there already enough pressure as is. And in this certain case, they made completely the right decision. And Romero and Udogie should have been sent off before they actually would have.
I agree. The sending offs. I'm not fighting VAR. Okay?
Yeah, it is a point, but I feel like that is probably what it is, right? Because it's just going to add. Imagine what's your capacity 61,000, right? Imagine that many Spurs fans shouting down the ref in already probably one of the most hotly contested London derby games. It's not going to be conducive.
Go down well.
Yeah.
But it was just such a mess. Obviously, then we lost 4-1 against Chelsea, and I think the scoreline was a bit more excessive and gave Chelsea a lot more praise in our actual performance. I came out of that game thinking, cool, we can build on something, but we didn't know the extent of Maddison's injury, Van de Ven's injury, which have basically derailed our whole season. Maddison.
The one thing I said, right? I said, you'll keep this up but what will hit you is injuries. I think it's not just me. A lot of people have said it.
A lot of people
because your
have
squad depth, everyone identified it. Your squad depth was nothing.
We decided
even within
to have one backup centre back, and that was Eric Dyer, who got benched yesterday.
Who played that? Ashley? Does that Phillips play?
Nope, Ashley Phillips also injured. So
who
we
came
started Emerson Royale and Ben Davies as our centre back pairing. We had no real centre back playing against Villa, and when I saw that lineup come out, I was already in Tottenham, and I literally looked at my mates and I was like, "Should we just go home? What's going to happen here?" It is very, very difficult. But what I like about Tottenham is that we still continued playing our high line. We're still playing the Ange philosophy. And people were like, oh, we should have played Eric Dyer. Eric Dyer starting in that game doesn't stop us losing.
Okay, it may not stop you losing, but okay, so I get the Tottenham fans being like, you know what, staying true to identity. But both in that Chelsea game and since then, if you've got injuries to your main centre-back, your main creative outlet, do you not have to check? Even within that Chelsea game, it was suicidal what you were doing. You literally had none.
That image of like,
the only thing that Nicholas Jackson is good at is running in behind. What he does with the ball after that is no one knows. And you have Raheem Sterling, one of the most like feared like take on dribblers in the league in Premier League history. All of these, what is he doing? Like, is not a part of you and a part of your fan base like Andrew's being a bit too naive, do you not think? Do you not have to adapt like slightly, like at least just to weather this storm out when you've got injuries, and you can perhaps then reinforce in January, wait for your players to come back? Like,
no, but the thing is, I completely back the way that Ange plays, because we've done the whole low block, we've done the whole adapt.
I'm not saying forever. I'm just saying for this period, or even with like Villa, you went 1-0 up. Wolves, you were 1-0 up. Chelsea, you were 1-0 up. Yeah. Like all three of those games, you were leading, and you've carried on playing. Okay, I can't lie to you. I didn't watch the game this weekend, but I did watch the other two, and you still maintain like there has to be some sort of like switch up, you know.
So I've had this debate within myself, and I was thinking, you know, while we have players out injured, is it more important to be kind of stubborn and stick to your tactics, or be adaptable and win? And I'm not saying Tottenham are the only team which have injuries. Newcastle have injuries. Man United have injuries. Brighton's injury list is insane. Yeah. And they, from what I can see, their play has adapted to fit the players that they then have to use within their squad depth. And the thing is, I can sit here and say, oh, we can adapt and change the way that we play. But if we've brought in a manager specifically to play this style of free-flowing attacking football, who's known for playing one way, like it's his way or no way, then ultimately we've hired this manager. It goes down to the hierarchy of not having enough squad depth.
Yeah, it does. But I'm not even saying start the game in that way. I'm just saying adapt slightly. Go gung-ho in the first 20 minutes, half an hour. Play that high line. Get your goal. And then adapt. Because it's all... I completely get it. Like with Conte, even with Mourinho to an extent, it was depressing, right? It wasn't fun to watch. But there has to be a degree of balance. Like you don't want to just be like dropping down the league, because you have a very good chance of getting top 4 or top 5 this season for the Champions League. Continue this way, you're what now? Fifth.
Villa just went ahead of us.
Yeah, and this is a team that was like top of the league literally 3 weeks ago. So if you've gone down to 5th now, carry on this way, you'll be 8th or 9th, which is where I had you at the end of the season.
Chucking us down to 8th or 9th already.
Yeah.
So we're 5th. Please respect us. 26 points. You know what? I think it's going to get worse before it gets better, in the sense that Ange has always said, if his famous quote, you know, after Chelsea, if we go down to 5 men, we're still going to play the same way. And do you know what?
It's a nice soundbite, but it's just stupid.
What do you mean soundbite?
It's a soundbite like...
Do you have an agenda against Ange as well? Because everyone on the timeline, I see you.
I don't have an agenda against. It's just naivety. Like, yeah, that's all it is.
Do you know what? He gives me football that I enjoy watching, and I didn't expect anything from this season. Give him time to build out his squad. I honestly, if it's not Champions League spots, I don't care where we really finish. I want him to give us something to build on, get excited about, because the atmosphere around Tottenham, like I said, even three losses in a row, after our like 26 points from 10 games or whatever, it's like it's hard to do.
Yeah,
but there's a lot of positivity around the club.
You can put the Chelsea one down to, you know what, you were down to 9 men and it got out of hand. The Wolves one, Wolves are not a bad side and you got caught. Then it's Villa who are a good team, but if it keeps going and going, it will eventually snowball.
Our next games are City, West Ham, and Newcastle.
Yeah,
so we'll get found out against Manchester City.
This is what I'm saying
West
though.
Ham.
Like just like that, you could easily be looking at 6 losses in a row.
Right. Okay. Thanks for that. Thanks for that. Really, really, really appreciate it.
Anyway, enough Tottenham battering for today. That was really fun.
Oh, God,
that was
I'm
really
gonna
good, especially because we did do an episode a couple of weeks after the Liverpool, and luckily there were technical errors and we couldn't get it out. But
hey, that was actually technical errors. Okay,
yes,
technical difficulties. But yeah,
yes,
I'm back here, and a lot of people were feeling really uncomfortable that I, as a Spurs fan, had a smile on my face. There's no smile on my face anymore. So
yes,
you all got your wish.
You'll be making a lot of viewers happy. I can tell you that. But we should talk about Villa as well.
Yes.
Top 4 for the first time since 2009, which, if you want to put a fancy way of saying, the first time in 2 decades.
Wow.
Yeah, that really puts it into perspective. 6 out of 6 wins at home, won every single game at home, and joint most informed team in the league with the United, who we just mentioned earlier. You had Villa quite high in your initial prediction. I think you might even have them 5th.
Yeah,
I think you had them 5th.
Then I had Newcastle and then Chelsea.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Or like up there. Yeah, I did have them up high.
Yeah, but you're looking like a great shout because they look to be really, really challenging for those spots.
Yeah.
I think a few weeks ago, everyone thought that the top 4 was dead set with Liverpool, City, Arsenal and Spurs. But it looks like Villa could easily crash the party. I mean, it's going to be 5 spots, so they could easily take that.
I just think that just talking about the fact that we all thought top 4 was set and now like Villa are there. I mean, Newcastle are up there. United, Tottenham. I mean, I think the Premier League is, again, like we say, best league in the world. So competitive. Nothing's ever a given. The current top 4 could completely switch. So Villa did... I don't think they played amazingly, but their full strength team, they know how to play their style of football. I mean, Ollie Watkins, what firepower.
Yeah.
It's just, they're one to watch. I think Europa League places for sure.
Europa League for sure. So you're not going to go quite as far as to say Champions League.
I just don't know. Like I'm saying, it's so competitive.
Yeah.
And right now in the top 5, we still haven't got United. We still haven't got Newcastle. We still haven't got. I mean, we've got Tottenham, but who else up there? Like Brighton. There's so many people who could still come up there.
Yeah. What impressed you about Villa? I mean, obviously you're watching the game with your Spurs hat on, but who impressed you on the other side?
I mean, like Douglas Luiz, unreal. Pau Torres, I mean, he hasn't had a lot of like accolades being given to him. But that was very good game for him, I think.
Yeah.
And then, Ollie Watkins, Matty Cash. We are coming for you. Romero is going to have a target on your back.
That's not someone you want to have a target on your back.
Matty Cash. Oh my gosh.
It didn't look great.
That was
It didn't look great.
The whole
did he get given he got given a yellow, didn't he?
Yeah.
He was off at I was looking with I was only looking because I had my fantasy team. He got hooked, fine.
Because they probably thought that
he'd do something again
red.
Or get into a fight with Romero.
Yeah, Villa, you can have your flowers, but please remember what's coming for you when we come to you.
Also, speaking of Romero, remember when you were gassing him up? No, okay, don't get me wrong. I agree with you, he's a good defender, but do you not remember the new reformed Romero, the captain, second or third captain, leader in the dressing room, hasn't picked up a card. What the hell's going on?
So just don't look at that game. Have you seen how good Romero is for Argentina? What a guy. My God. No, he's going to come back. Son told him off. Ange told him off. And he'll be fine. It's a learning curve. He just needs to play the game and not the occasion. Romero, this is not the first time you've done this. You did it in the AC Milan. He did it against AC Milan in the Champions League. And you've done it now against Chelsea in the first half. Just relax yourself, okay? And let's not have any more red cards.
Because that made it even worse, right? When with the Chelsea one. Because not only did you have Van der Ven and because Romero and then Udogie get themselves sent off, they're not even injuries. I don't even know how you managed to. What was your back four the game after that? It was what?
Our back four was.
You had 3 wiped out
Dyer,
just like that.
Davies,
Royale
and Porro.
Okay, fair. So you just scrap centre backs, just play fullbacks.
Yeah.
Fair. Fine. The next game we had was arguably. So I can't believe it's taken us this long to get it, considering it's arguably the two best teams in the country.
Yeah.
Well, City and Liverpool.
Yes, sir.
Not a great. It wasn't the best City Liverpool game I've seen by any stretch of the imagination. I think that 12:30 kickoff definitely just knocked the intensity out of it. I think players were playing about 80%.
And they'd all just come back from international break, which didn't help. I think they must have had like a day's, not even a day, pre-season training before the week. And I think going into that game, I think the aim for Liverpool was to not lose.
Agreed.
Because it was at the Etihad and not got a great record there.
No.
It's very, very tricky. So what were your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I thought that I echo what you said. I think when we went, even before the game, I was like, I'll take a draw.
Mm-hmm.
I think we haven't won at the Etihad in the league since 2015. We beat them in the Champions League in 2018.
Yeah.
Yeah, you remember the one. So I was very happy with the draw. I think with performance-wise, I think City were the better team on the day. I don't think a draw was an unfair result, but I also don't, if City had won it, like 1-0 or 2-1, I wouldn't have been like, oh my God, we've been robbed or anything like that.
Yeah.
I think we had good patterns of play, like some decent chances. If Nunes was as clinical as someone like Haaland, like they weren't absolutely clean and clear chances where you're like, oh my God, as we've seen Nunes sometimes do in the past, like rounding the keeper and hitting the post or something like that. But if he was a tad sharper, we probably could have had a goal or two for him. But I was happy. I came out of that thinking, you know what, I'm happy with that. And it's going to sound controversial. I think for once we had something on our side because I thought that the decision on Alisson was a little bit soft. I think you probably wouldn't.
Liverpool fan.
Yeah,
I'm just in shock.
Yeah, I think with that one, I think if the referee had not given that as a foul, I wouldn't have been angry if VAR hadn't overturned it. But I understand why it was given because it wasn't a clear enough and obvious error. And I get it. Like for years, anything on the keepers has been a foul.
Yeah.
But I didn't think it was that as heavy as people have made it out to be. But overall, I'm happy. Trent, match winner.
That man, no fixed position, deployed everywhere along the pitch. I was in awe. I mean, people were like, oh, Trent this, Trent that. And people, I don't understand. Like, why are we all watching the same game? That some people cooked him for that game. And then, the people with ball knowledge were like, that was quite a good defensive performance from Trent and attacking performance. He was just everywhere.
Yeah, it's honestly, that Trent performance in the Liverpool City game sums up Twitter, like football Twitter in a nutshell, or football X.
Yeah.
Because you got some people who probably didn't even watch the game or watch bits of it and just want to have an agenda and saw Doku 7 dribbles completed against Trent. Maybe once did he actually get past and actually put something in. The rest of them were like Trent really actually manned him pretty well.
Yeah.
I think Trent had him had him on lock for the first 15-20 minutes. Doku grew into a bit, but still didn't create anything dangerous. And that's just the type of player Doku is. It's like saying whenever someone runs at someone that, automatically they're beaten. That's just the style of player he is. And Trent kept him quiet. And then this is why, for me, Trent will go down. Right now, it's Kyle Walker. But Trent will go down as the best right back in Premier League history. Because he's doing that on one end of the pitch. This is after weeks of build-up of the game being like, oh my God, Trent's going to get cooked by Doku, this and that. Arguably one of the most informed left wingers in the league right now. And then he's gone and done that at the other end because we actually didn't really create much. And it requires a match winner like that to go and do something. Can you see anyone else can you see Kyle Walker doing that? Kyle Walker will lock someone up, but he's not going to go around the other end.
Ping across, but he can't do what Trent did.
No, exactly. And it wasn't even the goal. It was also he was playing some beautiful balls. I think Gary Neville called one out on the commentary, which was literally we were under pressure and Trent just gets it up to Salah and just switches the play up just like that. So I thought that was an outstanding performance, and that shows you why we gas him up so much and why he is the right back, as Gary Neville put it.
What I learned from that game and what I learned from the rest of the games that I've watched Liverpool get points from is that people are not giving Liverpool enough credit as league challengers.
Yeah.
And people think, oh, it's just going to be City, Arsenal up there. And that's what it's going to be, the same as it was last season.
Yeah.
But Liverpool, they can win this league.
I think so too now. I've seen enough. I still think that...
Like, you guys haven't been your best, but you can still, like, I'm not saying a point at Etihad is great, but that game was not there for you to get anything out of.
Yeah.
And you got a point.
Yeah.
And it's because you have, not like individual brilliance, but I say you have team cohesiveness to get a result like that.
Combined with players that can turn it on like that, like Trent, like Salah. Van Dijk is now, for me, I think he's back to being the best defender in the world.
Okay.
He has been unbelievable this season. I think it got clouded slightly because people still had the images of what he was like last season in his head, plus that red card against Newcastle. But he is, trust me, he's doing
back up there. He's, I was slandering him before, but he's given me glimpses of peak Virgil van Dijk.
Yeah, I think he's really taken on this captaincy role.
I'm not hating on that opinion.
What, him being the best in the world? I think let's maybe give it a bit more time, but I'm seeing it. He may not ever go back to that absolute monstrous peak that he had, which was like the best defender I've ever seen. But he is very, very... Say that's like obviously 100%. I think he's at to like 90, 95% now. And I think touching on like Liverpool, we've had some really like tough fixtures. We've had Chelsea away, Newcastle away, Wolves away.
Spurs away,
which we shouldn't have lost. Brighton away. Merseyside derby, which is a tough game for us because they turn up. And then City away already. And we're, third in the league? 1 or 2 points off the top. So quietly confident, I think we'll be in the mix. Still, I think despite, up till now, it's been an issue with McAllister at the 6 because we don't have a recognised DM. And Endo, I just don't think is ever going to be that guy. But McAllister actually had a good game on Saturday. I thought he was actually decent. So yeah, I'm quietly confident. I'm excited to see them, and I think lack of Champions League football as well means we can rotate a lot better, so we can give ourselves more time to focus.
Players like Salah should not be touching the Europa League.
He's just casually started. He equaled Henry's record. It was like the most European goals for an English club. Yeah. Obviously, he has done it all in the Champions League bar this season, but he's casually just getting the stats.
Stop pad away, bro. But that's what I mean. You're so right that you can get far I believe, with your squad, you can get far in the Europa League, not have to run Salah into the ground.
Yeah.
And you exactly rest him for your league games.
Yeah.
And like I said, you guys, if not City, I think you win the league.
Yeah, because I think...
Because Arsenal, I don't have faith in you.
We'll get onto them afterwards. But I think now, bar Arsenal away, we've got rid of all of our hardest fixtures.
I just got to win at Anfield.
Yeah. Yeah.
Under the lights.
Which I back as against anyone at Anfield.
Yeah.
Like even City, I think we can do them at Anfield.
You have.
Yeah, multiple times. Yeah, City have only beaten us once since like 2003 or 4 at Anfield, and that was in front of no fans. So quietly confident. Speaking of Arsenal, last minute winner from the much maligned Kai Havertz. Yeah,
I cannot believe. I was out when I saw that notification. I was like, keeping an eye on it, and I was like, oh, come on Brentford, and I was like, oh. If it's going to be anyone, it had to be Kai Havertz. But again, another team which are not playing, wow, absolutely amazing, but they've grinded out results, sitting pretty at the top of the league, which hurts me to say so much because I know some insufferable Arsenal fans. And I think the main thing I took out of that game, Ramsdale.
Yeah. Shaky. And that's being kind.
That's being kind.
I saw that video of that clip of his throw in. She just threw it into the ground. Yeah, there had to be 2 goal line clearances. Declan Rice and Zinchenko, I think. Yeah, I saw Zinchenko's one. And I think Arsenal, if I sit back as like not my Spurs cap on, Arsenal as a team, I was saying to you guys that you guys have a real cohesiveness. Arsenal as a team look I don't know if they're playing better football than they did last season. I actually had this down. I don't think they're playing better football. Last season was easier on the eye.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're a more complete team this
That's
season.
exactly what I was going to say. As a team, this is a team that knows how to grind out a result, not have to play pretty football. Scares me to say it. It's the kind of football that a team that's going to win the league kind of plays.
Yeah.
So it reminds me of the season, so not 15-16 Leicester, but 16-17 Chelsea.
Okay.
Under
Conte, yeah.
So they wouldn't always play the prettiest football,
Yeah.
but they won the league, grinding out 1-0 like they did, like Arsenal did on Saturday.
Yeah.
And it was scarily similar to that.
Yeah, I think your podcast co-host Nabeid, I was on my TL, and he compared it to Liverpool's title-winning season, where they'd go kind of like grinding out wins. You know, they go late at Villa and win.
Because the season before you played better football.
Yeah.
And then the season that you won the Premier League,
yeah,
you kind of learned.
Yeah. I wouldn't say Arsenal on that level. Yeah.
No. But similar to having the learning process and learning how to grind out that result. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Declan Rice has been unbelievable in terms of solidity. I still think letting go of Xhaka has been a loss, and they're still trying to work out how to adapt. But I think they're more perhaps defensively solid, but less potent in attack.
Mm-hmm.
I think last season they would create way more chances. I feel like this season, I think Martinelli's only scored 1 or 2 league goals. I think Saka's looked a little bit leggy at times. Jesus has missed some sitters.
Who doesn't think that scoring goals is his forte?
Yeah, I was seeing some ridiculous shouts. People were saying that Jesus is better, like peak Jesus better than peak Firmino.
Whoa!
Yeah,
that's an absolute
crazy
violation.
Crazy,
that's
crazy
violation.
Like, I'm not even gonna
deluded Arsenal fans on the time.
Yeah, but yeah, I was gonna say, like, do you think that who did you put City to win the league, right? Are you still sticking with that? Have you seen enough of this new gritty Arsenal, who now, if you're just looking at pure results basis, top of the league, top of their Champions League group, are they still in the cup?
No, they lost against West Ham, no?
Yes, true.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, I mean, League Cup is not as important. But yeah, like if you ask an Arsenal fan what they'd want going into December, no one would argue. No one would be upset with this. So if you're looking at from pure results basis, what's your thoughts? You gonna switch up, or you still think that?
I still think honest to God, I feel like I would throw up if I said Arsenal are going to win the league. But even speaking, I know that Arsenal have it in them to mess up.
Yeah.
And everyone goes through a period of bad luck, and theirs is coming. I just think City have the squad depth and the capabilities to ride out the bad luck.
Yeah.
And like end of the season, City, like we said before, are untouchable.
Yeah.
So if not City, I think you.
Okay, so yeah, that's interesting. So if you're putting City as the standard, you're putting Liverpool as the biggest contender, more than Arsenal.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes, I am.
I would put that down as a hot take.
A hot take.
Yeah, fair. I'm
just not moved by the way Arsenal play. I've contradicted myself because I say that they're playing football that wins them a league.
Yeah.
But I just think that the competitiveness of the league.
Yeah.
I've just seen a lot more resilience from City and recently from Liverpool. Yeah.
Fine.
Let's go. For my predictions of City, then Liverpool, then Arsenal for league.
Interesting. Other teams that are fighting up there / teams that are not fighting up there. Newcastle thumping Chelsea 4-1, I believe.
Wow.
Wow. Lots to unpack here. Firstly, Sterling scoring a free kick. I don't know what I was saying. I was like, am I in an alternate universe? And do you see it as well? It was class.
Very good.
It was like a prime Ronaldo dip over the wall type of free kick.
That's practice on the training ground week in, week out.
Yeah. But like I never took Sterling for someone as like with like ridiculous shot power.
With the finesse on his free kick.
Yeah. But aside from that, that's probably the best they got for Chelsea.
Mm-hmm.
So 4-1 loss, 1 win in their last 5 Premier League games.
Mm-hmm.
But, is there a debate to be had that, in the same way that we said with Man U,
yes,
that they're perhaps Man U are papering over the cracks? that it's kind of the opposite for Chelsea, that they're actually performing not that pretty well, but the results aren't kind of helping their cause. Because if you look at it, so they beat Chelsea, they're still in the cup. They beat Brighton, then got back-to-back wins against Fulham and Burnley. Then had Arsenal, where they easily could have won it 2-0 up. Do you remember then Arsenal came back, then lost to Brentford, which is a bad result. Then won again in the cup. Then smashed Tottenham.
Hey,
it happened. It happened. And then a draw against City.
which was an unreal game, by the way.
Unreal game. That is
Game of the season.
game of the season, and I think that's it's very hard for us to like
It's like a
recency,
Hall of
like
Famer.
but I think that's gonna go straight down
That's
into like
just-
you'll see it on like Sky Sports at like 11 p.m. like Premier League retro.
Yeah, it's pure Barclays.
Pure
That's what it
Barclays.
is. If you want to sum up the Premier League in a game,
Yeah.
it was that game. Unreal.
Literally. And then they've lost to Newcastle here. So what's your thoughts on Chelsea here? I mean, in this game, I think speaking to a Chelsea fan earlier, he was like, they actually played okay in the first half. And then it all just fell apart within 10 minutes. Reece James getting sent off on the same day.
Reece
Trent drops a
James.
masterclass.
Yes.
This is why Trent will always be better than Reece James. Not to mention Reece James being available for about 2 games a season. Yeah.
See, I saw something on Twitter. I don't know if it's true that Reece James hasn't played like 3 consecutive games.
Since 2019.
Yeah,
or
since
something.
2019. Like, that's wild.
Yeah. Yeah. So I saw that one, and I saw Reece James has as many goals and assists for Chelsea in the Premier League. So it has less goals and assists for Chelsea in the Premier League, or as many as Trent has against the top 6.
Wow.
So Reece James overall and Trent just against the top 6. Like, you're talking about it's a gulf in class here.
Golf in class, and also it's just so irresponsible for Reece James to even do what he did in that game, because you're a club captain. Step up, show some responsibility.
Yeah.
And he's like, when he is fit, he's like poster boy of Chelsea, like diehard boyhood fan.
Cobham.
Yeah, exactly. And then to do that,
Yeah, it's like when he's off the pitch, which is about 90% of the time,
Yes.
you're not doing a good captain's role.
then
We
when you're on
talked-
the pitch, you get sent off
Yeah.
as captain.
Yeah.
So
See, this is why I
great.
don't understand the delusion of some that be like, when he's on his day, he's the best right back in the world.
Yeah, but you
But
can't
how many
count
times is he
on
on his day?
day.
How many days does he have? He's played about 3 games a season, and he's been sent off in 33% of them, probably. And then on top of that, I think he's only probably won 1 or 2 games a season. It's just like, it's probably one of the biggest, most unfair, like weird arguments I've seen in football. Like, Trent washes the guy.
even just talking about Chelsea wins, I also saw another tweet. Chelsea have 9 Premier League wins under Bowley's ownership. 9.
9.
Premier
That can't
League
be right.
wins.
That can't be right.
They have 4 wins in their last 38.
Is it that bad?
Yeah. And just for context, Arsenal have 9 wins this season alone.
Bloody hell.
I mean, that's a bit wild.
That is crazy.
That is wild. Because think about it. I said at the beginning of the season of 3 wins for you in 2023.
Yeah.
And now I'm saying 9 Premier League wins under his ownership.
Yeah. No, it does add
Not a
up.
wild stat.
Yeah.
That's just, if you just, oh God.
Yeah, and
There's so much wrong.
I think they say, like, hasn't they said that Enzo Fernandez has, I think it's like,
13% win rate.
yeah.
Enzo Fernandez, £120 million player, has a 13% win rate.
Yeah, so people come at this pod for being overly
Whilst
harsh on
starting.
Chelsea.
Whilst
While starting. For over hating on Chelsea. But when you've spent that much money, you shouldn't just be like looking at, oh my God, we see signs that we're going in the right direction. That's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Like, people are forgetting they've spent their midfield, 2 of their midfielders cost 250 million or
Yes.
240 million pounds combined.
Yes.
It's crazy. 1 win in their last 5. The debate I wanted to bring to you earlier that I mentioned, who finishes higher, Chelsea or United? Because I was up to this point thinking Chelsea, because I thought their underlying performances were better, but they just don't seem to be putting them. They seem to be getting a little bit better and then just getting slapped up by 4-1 by Newcastle. Whereas United have slowly been ticking along.
So it's battle of the inconsistent teams.
Battle of the mids.
Yeah, battle of, what a title. Battle of the mids. Chelsea versus Manchester United. I also see battle of the mids on the timeline because every club seems to have an OnlyFans account now.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. But yeah, so battle of the mids. I think, like we were discussing earlier, it's a results game, and United are getting the results, and Chelsea simply aren't. I think that the lack of consistency for United is coming to an end. And I think Chelsea are right in the middle of it, beating Tottenham 4-1, then getting slapped up by an injury pile-hide Newcastle. It makes sense.
Yeah, that's true, to
You
be
can
fair.
understand.
Like, this is
And
fair
then-
enough, it's
so-
Newcastle, but they are like that. He got an assist as well, that Miley.
Yes.
It's like some 17-year-old kid they just plucked out of nowhere. And Newcastle had just lost to, I think they lost to Bournemouth, was it?
Yes,
the
they
week
did. Yeah,
before,
yeah.
So it's not like Newcastle were in their best shape as well. So, yeah, Chelsea fans. It's unfortunate because it seemed like when you did have your little purple patch, it just didn't happen to be on the pod.
The
So
purple
it's
patch
just
of one
as soon
game.
as soon as yeah,
What about your one game?
one game, and then as soon as we're back, you're just back to your old ways. Like, you'll
Listen.
criticize us for talking about you, but like we said last time, it's just stop losing.
We're here to cook the Chelsea. Oh no, we're here to cook the Pochettino, because he said after the game, "Oh, we're gonna make sure that everyone's back tomorrow training." So he gave them the day off.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, so it was all just talk.
They were not in training. So Pochettino, no control over the club, no control over his managers, mid-manager is what it is. I told you this at the beginning of the season.
And then let's talk about Newcastle. I was actually looking at it. Newcastle are below Man U, which is so weird to me because the narratives around the two teams have been so different. But they seem, obviously they do have a lot of injuries, and this is a big win. I feel like their high points are really high, like that smashing Villa, first or second game of the season, smashing Chelsea now, beating Arsenal, beating City in the cup, and then they just have and then beating, smashing PSG.
Yes.
Just a lot. They're really weird. It's a really weird club to analyze because they've had these big highs and then they've had these lows, because I don't think they're in the top two in the Champions League group right now, despite starting so well.
No.
Because they got beaten by Dortmund home and away.
Yes.
And then
They slapped up PSG.
but then...
They've still got the return leg to go.
And then who's the fourth team in their group? Milan.
AC.
So they got the draw, and then I think... Did Milan... They played Milan?
I think they still got to play them.
Yeah. So it's a weird one. And then, losing to Bournemouth, not holding on against Liverpool. So they've been a bit up and down. So I don't... But when they're really good, and they have had injuries.
And they're really good at St. James's Park.
Yes.
That place has become a fortress.
Yeah.
And do you know what? I have PTSD from going there. It's unreal. Like the hostility of the fans.
Was this when you got slapped up?
6-1. 6-1. Yeah, I was there. But you know what? Again, with all of their injuries, they are still playing some brilliant football. Oh,
yeah.
Gordon, may I say. Whoever scouted him, brilliant talent ID. Because I remember Paratici also wanted Gordon at Tottenham.
Yeah.
And that was just, now that I see him, I'm like, Paratici, you have brilliant.
Yeah, it looks...
He's great.
He's one where actually Chelsea would have had the last laugh. Because remember, they were in for him and they almost got him. And everyone was like, what the hell?
Like, why do you want him? Blah, blah.
Yeah, which they do with all their players. Unfortunately, he's actually the one that got away because we're still right about Enzo and Caicedo, and Lavia hasn't even touched a ball yet. But yeah, he's been quality, and this is about a former Toffee as well, former Everton player. Speaking of Everton, what a nice little bridge. 10-point deduction, and well, first let's talk about that. What's your thoughts? Is that fair and reasonable? I'll give some context to the viewers. I'm sure most of you heard about it, but Everton basically went £20 million over the FFP rules, like the sustainability rules. So within a given, I think it's a rolling period, they have to comply. They went 20 mil over. They admitted guilt to the Premier League, and they were working with the Premier League over a few years to make sure that they're within the realms and they don't step the bounds, but they did. And this is the heaviest points deduction in Premier League history. Portsmouth got docked 9 points for going into administration in like 2009, 10-ish. There's two sides of the coin here. One is they've broken the rules, you're going to get punished. The other side is Man City have
15 charges.
115 charges hanging over their head and are happily gallivanting. Nothing's happening to them. And Everton claim there's mitigating circumstances, you know, COVID, that kind of thing. Maybe not be able to get, as a result of that, getting the value for players as they would have done. So where do you sit on it? Overly harsh or just cause?
So where I stand on this situation is that if you've done wrong, you should be punished. And just because someone's done more wrong than you doesn't mean that you shouldn't be punished.
Yeah.
And we get that Chelsea have played with FFP. Man City, 115 charges. You're telling me they're innocent of all of them? No chance. The thing is, if you have done something wrong, Everton, you have to hold that punishment. If it's coming for Chelsea and if it's coming for City, they will get punished in due course. But if you've done it, you'll be charged for it.
Yeah.
It's not just, I've done something bad, but they've done something worse, so punish them and not me.
Yeah.
Which is what I think a lot of people are saying. They're like, how are you letting Chelsea get away with it? And how are you letting City get away with it? How Manchester City are getting away with it, we will never know. They must have Harvey Specter on their legal team.
The only thing I can think of with that one is because Everton's case kind of got concluded. That's why you're seeing the ban now.
Because it's one charge versus 150.
Yeah, I think Man City have dragged it out, right? Because they've got this team of lawyers and that because it's still going on. So you can't really punish someone where the case hasn't ended. It's like I don't know. I was going to say OJ, but like a criminal. If you know he's murdered someone, but like he's still going through the process. Yeah, it's innocent till proven guilty, right?
Oh, like I've been found guilty of like stealing something, but that guy's on trial for murder, so concentrate on that and not me.
Yeah, exactly.
That's very similar to that. So Everton, you might not have been as bad as Chelsea and City, but if you've done something bad.
Yeah, but I will say now, I mean, it's highly, highly, highly unlikely that City are not guilty for at least 2 charges, because that makes it more than Everton, right? So I'd be interested to see now, because if Everton are getting 10 points for that, people are saying that if they get found guilty of all 115, they'll be in like League 2 or something.
Less.
They'll get,
because
they're going to get like 100 plus points or more than that. It's going to be crazy. So I'm very, very interested to see that. It's just funny seeing this Everton fans get the protests ready, and then Garnacho just silences them.
That's them.
But where does that does make the relegation battle a lot more interesting now? Because I think a lot of people, including us on this podcast,
we're like 3 teams have come up
and straight back down.
Well, since we've last recorded, both of us actually went to Luton.
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did.
You want to talk about your experience at the good old Kenilworth
Road? It was so lovely. It was so lovely. We got invited by Ishaan's family friend.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for that experience. It was great seeing the like walking up through and seeing like a really residential area, and then like, bam, there's a stadium. And it's very different to the state. Like I go to Tottenham every single week, £1 billion, 60,000 people.
It's like complete polar opposite, right?
Complete polar opposite. And Luton gave us a good game.
Yeah, they also gave us a good game. Couldn't quite come out with 3 points. That was It's a crazy atmosphere. Like it harks back to like the old kind of grounds. We were in like the hospitality section, right?
So we didn't get like the normal fan experience.
Yeah, but even then you just had a pillar just like in front of you, like obstructing like part of your view, which is crazy. Like it just adds to it. And you feel like you're on the pitch. When it got loud, it got really loud. And just like nice, like really shout out Kishore. I'm sure I think I saw you had the picture of the same, right? With the meeting the
players, holding the match ball. Very cool.
Really cool experience.
So
but unfortunately, we still think they're gonna go down. Although not as bad as I thought they would be.
Yeah.
I feel like with them, they're actually doing a decent job at like actually putting in some decent performances. But they just simply don't have the quality to stay up.
At the beginning of the season, I didn't think they'd hit double digits.
Yeah.
But
because you remember you got absolutely cooked by who was it? You were like they're gonna go We Worse Than Derby, right?
Yeah.
And then is that where you got cussed out for calling Sheffield
United? Because I said
Sheffield
instead of Sheffield United. I'm sorry.
How dare you?
How dare
what
I?
Egregious crime. But they're actually outside the relegation.
I know.
Right now.
Because Everton are on 4, Burnley are on 4.
Yes. And then Sheffield United,
full government name.
Yes, are on 5, and then Luton on 9. So they're almost on double.
Big up Luton. Up the Hatters.
They could, I don't know. Yeah, so what's your thoughts? Is it gonna, Are Everton going to get dragged into a relegation battle
but
here, or is it going to be what we said, 3 up, 3 down?
I think 3 up, 3 down in the sense that it's Sean Dyche. I saw a tweet saying he just wants to grind harder for that fight for survival. And okay, if they didn't have the 10 points deduction, they'd be on 14, and then the bottom 3 would be 5-5-9.
Yeah.
So I still think even with the deduction,
Yeah.
Everton stay up.
Yeah.
So as much as I loved my experience at Kenilworth Road and Luton fans, you're really wholesome, but I think you go straight back down.
Burnley have been so 'cause even with Sheffield United, right? Like there have been instances where you've seen a glimpse of that. Well, still nothing amazing, but
they beat Wolves.
Yeah, they beat. I think they beat Wolves. They almost beat you guys, but Burnley have been the most disappointing for me out of all.
And we were the ones who said, "Oh, Burnley are going to be quite exciting to watch."
I think I had them at like 13th or 14th.
Yeah, and like with company, the football that they played in the Championship versus the football that they played now in the Premier League, chalk and cheese.
Yeah.
Not the same at all. And you'd think with the manager, he'd try and still play the same style of football.
Yeah.
Even if you haven't got the same starting 11, you play the same style because every manager has a kind of style that they want to input into the club. And it's like, they could be two separate teams and I would never know they're at the same club.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sad. And I feel like Company's become a bit delusional as well. He's just coming out after every game being like, yeah, I was really impressed with that, this and that. Might be a hot take, rogue shout. I think he could be one of the first managers to go this season.
But replace him with who?
You bring it back. You throw it back to like the fight for your life type of manager, like Sam Allardyce vibes, Chris Wilder, because they look hopeless at the moment. I think initially they had a really tough run of fixtures,
and that's people, what you could excuse.
Yeah,
for, yeah.
But it's just not only are they're losing, but they also they don't seem to want to. Like how I was talking about with Ange, but there's the flip side of it. It's like sometimes when you're in these relegation fights, you just have to flip up and just backs against the wall, be ready.
Block, like, yeah, but you're
still trying to pass out the back, this and that. Just it's looking ominous.
For Burnley, what I think they should be doing is like, cool, you're not going to win, just defend for your life, and even because it could come down to goal difference. But even if you're grinding out a draw,
if it came down to goal difference. So Burnley and Sheffield United on -23 and 22 respectively, and then the next worst is Bournemouth on -40. Bournemouth on -14. Oh. So those two are already getting spanked.
Yeah, they're down. Yeah. They're down. Ooh.
Yeah, Bournemouth I wanted to touch on. It was looking really, really bad. I think the manager about to be sacked, but they're back, baby, because they were my what's it called, surprise package team. They're finally doing it. I don't know, if I look at their fixtures now, so they've won 3 out of their last 5, and the 2 that they lost in that 5 were to Liverpool and City. So
it's expected.
Yeah, but I reckon they'll be safe now, and they're actually playing good football. I think a lot of the few of their signings have come into form now. Like Kluivert has been really good, so I'm excited to see them. And finally, our last section for this episode got Premier League preview. Some juicy Premier League fixtures coming up this coming weekend. Starting off up north, we talked about them earlier. We talked about both earlier. Newcastle versus United.
Ooh.
St James's Park. What's your predictions?
I am expecting another Newcastle domination.
Domination.
I'm going 3-0 to Newcastle.
3-0.
Is honestly,
I think it's going to be one of those.
I think it's going to be one of those, and honestly, that prediction is solely because it's also at St James's Park. I know they play Champions League. I think, are they going away to Paris? Because they played PSG already.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think what they're going to be doing is absolutely cooking United at SJP, and I am a little bit concerned. It will be interesting.
They will have actually played PSG by the time.
They'll play PSG by the time this comes out. But I think Newcastle 3-0 against Manchester United. I just think that Manchester United's front three, all 3 of them scored against Everton, Garnacho, Martial, Rashford, but it was still a little bit shaky, and I just think that Newcastle will be too much for them. Yeah. They're just an unreal firepower at SGP.
So you're going 3-0.
Yeah, what are you going for?
I agree with you. I think I'm gonna go 2-0 Newcastle. I just can't see anything but it just seems like one of those classics. Man U crumble on the day.
Yeah.
Newcastle have everything behind them, and it's a home crowd gets behind them, and it's a clean sheet 2-0 win. So I'm gonna go for that.
Mm-hmm.
Chelsea versus Brighton. We didn't touch on it earlier, but Brighton was slowly under the radar, like taking L's.
They didn't win for like 2 months.
Yeah, and no one realised till like something.
Since like the 26th of September, they hadn't won.
Yeah, it was like hold up, like.
And I was looking at their injury list, and I made a list of it: Estepinian, Welbeck, Solly March, Webster, Dunk, Milner, Lamptey. I mean, Fatty went off, and they finally won 3-2.
Yeah.
Still a bit on edge.
Yeah.
But
it's probably explains De Zerbi's hardcore celebration at the end.
Yeah.
He's probably like, oh my God, I won a game.
Bless him.
Yeah.
But very exciting game. It's Chelsea and the club they buy all their players from.
Yes, the transfer derby.
Yeah, the transfer derby.
So what are you going with there?
I was going.
It's actually a really hard one to predict.
It's such a hard one to predict, again, with the inconsistency of both. Another battle of the mids.
Yes.
At the current moment in time. So I was thinking 2-2.
2-2. I'm going to go 2-1 Brighton.
Really?
I think they might have finally... They can't keep going on like this, like 1 win in 2 months. Surely they'll build on that now. And I feel they'll be up for it. Because I think, bar Palace, Chelsea are probably the team they hate most in the league now. Because they keep bloody taking their players. And their manager, their ex-manager as well. So I'm gonna go 2-1 Brighton. Yeah. And finally, the big fixture of the weekend.
Don't talk about it.
Is it gonna be a City win and Spurs to lose 4 in a row, or are Spurs gonna bring back the old Spurs and do a number on City?
Well,
they have a really good record against, actually.
In the past, Tottenham have always done a little number on City, no matter what our form was. I mean, I remember last season, it was like the 4-2 madness. We lost, but then we beat them in the Spurs Stadium. I remember my favourite ever game that I've watched Tottenham City is the 3-2 win. Harry Kane, best individual performance I've ever seen. Harry Kane. But I think with the missing pieces that we have in our squad, it's not even that we're to the bare bones of our squad. We've got a carcass. We are literally hanging on with like a few things, and I don't know what our performance is going to look like on the day. So
who's still out? So Maddison's out.
Van der Ven is out. Romero's still suspended.
From what?
He got straight red
against Chelsea.
Yeah,
it's still going on.
Wolves.
Oh, bloody hell.
Wolves, then who did we just play and lose to? Villa, and then City.
Oh, fine, okay.
Then we've got like Perisic, Solomon, Richarlison. Like we've got so many injuries.
What was this whole Richarlison thing? Did he injure his?
So he needed his groin area, yeah. So he needed surgery, and he just went to do surgery.
Okay, right.
So
Random.
Richarlison. We just have no players.
Right.
Bentancur just went off injured. Thank you again, Matty Cash. So
does it look bad, that one?
We don't know. He's just come back from injury. ACL, and then Matty Cash just goes sliding into him. Never great. I am terrified of playing Manchester City at the Etihad with Emerson Royale and Davies as our centre-back pairing.
And just stubbornness.
High line. Hey, let's go. We thought we were going to get a Doku, like, Trent matchup.
Yeah.
Scary times.
Yeah.
Scary times are upon us. Erling Haaland to dunk on our heads. We do not know how this is going to go down, but I don't want Tottenham to get battered, which is why I'm saying 2-1 to Manchester City.
2-1, okay. Considering how much you've just talked about your issues, that's a pretty...
Oh, well, I can't say that we're going to get battered 5-0, 6-0.
You can, at least you'll be right then.
With the crest on me. But, yeah.
True, you have to be loyal.
Yeah.
Well, I don't. I think you're going to go... I'm going to go 3-0. I think City will, like, beat you pretty resoundingly and then just, like, give up and kind of be a bit, like, just knock it about a bit.
Yeah.
Because actually very rarely do City just, like... I think once they get to a point, they don't try and, like, absolutely kill teams like that. I think they'll, like, just realize, okay, look, you know, it's like that Simpsons meme. It's just like, they're already dead.
They're already dead.
Yeah, so I will go 3-0.
Oh.
Yep.
Painful times.
Well, guys, we seem to have covered a lot of content, covering kind of in the intervening period that we missed and the Premier League action last weekend, next weekend. And I hope you enjoyed our comeback episode. And Davina, any words?
Thank you so much for all the support. I'm sorry that we were away for so long, but if you aren't already, please make sure that you're following us on all of our socials. It's at Round the Wall on Instagram, on X, on TikTok, and on YouTube. So please like, comment, and subscribe. We appreciate all the interactions, and we shall see you soon. Goodbye.